Welcome, everyone. Jill Novak here with my friend Wendi Napier from Open Door Design. Wendi and I have been spring cleaning together, I guess in two different ways. So this spring, Wendi, we were doing the spring cleanse, which is part of Ayurveda and yoga's annual tradition of cleaning up what you ingest, what you bring into your life to digest, and getting really intentional about that. And I wanted to chat with you today because you bring Feng Shui into design as part of your practice and include energy work like healing touch. So I know that you can come at spring cleaning from a completely different angle than I do. And I wanted to chat with you about that today.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just another place that we can support ourselves for getting true and clear in what we're after. So if I was to ask you, like, why do we cleanse?
Oh, you're going to ask me.
I'm interested to see to talk about the parallels between the two.
Yeah.
Right?
So I would say you cleanse because, things just kind of get gunked up. And when things get gunked up, it's like things don't flow as well through the body. Ayurveda calls it ama. So this this gunk just starts to block things, starts to be in the way, starts to impede growth. And I think sometimes it's like when things are so full, nothing else, it's like that teacup metaphor. Like, if the teacup's already full, like everything that you try and pour in that's good is just going to flow out. So sometimes you have to empty the cup a little bit to be able to put more good stuff in. And that for me is kind of why spring cleaning is important in our body.
Yeah. So similar to our space, like you talk about ama, we talk about chi.
Okay.
So chi is sort of that life force that runs through our veins, runs through our space, is in our environment around us. So essentially, Feng Shui, it translates to wind and water. So if we can visualize our the mouth of chi being our front door, similar to our mouth, like what we ingest, we want that chi to come in and flow through our system clearly. So when we have a lot of clutter or a lot of unused items, clutter for one is described as things that don't move. So some people think, clutter is this pile that I just picked up from the mailbox and it's sitting on my table. Well, I haven't got to that yet, but if I haven't got to it in 2 weeks, that now is considered clutter. So it's like that leftover gunk in your system that's stored either, as inflammation or fat storage or things like that. So there's like a lot of awesome parallels, I think, for the cleansers to see how the importance of clearing our space actually does help clear the palate, to see things clearly. And it really does come back to intention.
Okay.
So I know that for me personally, if I'm going to invest in anything, I need to have a really deep understanding of the why.
Yeah.
So the why in Feng Shui is our home is a representation of ourselves. We can look at our home almost as an energetic template, like you would with acupuncture, where the practitioner will activate a certain meridian in your physical structure to bring about flow in a specific area, maybe your liver, maybe, just detoxifying, maybe you need, something around your teeth or whatever. So we do that the same way with Feng Shui in looking at different areas of your house that need activation. So we either bring energy there or we clear energy so energy can flow. So again, Feng Shui is wind and water. If we consider how water will come through your space, fill up in areas, and and move freely, we can see where the density is.
Okay. So what
So,
becomes important in spring?
sorry, ask again.
What becomes important, I guess, in spring? Like, what is our spring cleaning need to be? What do we need to consider?
What it is that you're looking to manifest. So
Mm,
I think during the winter, similar to clearing our system, in our winter, we need more stuff. We need like a heavier coat. We need, a reserve of fat just in case. So and we're indoors more a little bit. So the chi is a little bit denser in our winter environments in our house than the summer. But the summer we need to lighten up. So even if it doesn't mean that we're going around getting rid of stuff, we're activating stuff. We're sweeping out, the areas of the homes that maybe we don't use. We're dusting, we're opening up the windows. Like there's a lot of good, better, best situations for clearing.
okay.
And I think similar to your cleanse, which I appreciate, that you bring in levels of good, better, best. Can we all do a coffee enema? Maybe not, but right? Can we take out a couple snacks within our, like remove a couple snacks? So if we're looking at clearing the space in our homes, there's really small, simple things that you can do that don't take a lot of effort, and we do naturally as well, right? Such as opening up the windows, letting the air flow through. We're bringing chi with new fresh colors, with buds of fresh cut flowers for this long period of spring when we're waiting patiently, right? We're bringing sound in, sound of the birds returning, like that activates chi. So anything to do with movement,
Okay.
right? The sweeping, I always kid people to say, if you want to understand where chi is stagnant in your area, just follow the spiders, because they won't build their web where they don't feel the density of the chi that would disrupt their hard work, right?
Right.
So yeah, just taking a walk through your space and looking at it from that perspective of like, where have things settled? And then maybe booking a call, and we can look at it energetically to see where the energy grid called the bagua overlays that area of your home, to look for the patterns that, in this space is where the density happens, in this space, in this space. Oh, how interesting. That's all in the family gua, right? And maybe there's some difficulty in a family situation that you want change and activation.
Yeah.
So that clearing of that space supports you in
So I'm
that.
thinking, like, if we're talking about good, better, best, then it's like the basic things are like just tidy, fold up the winter coats, put them in a closet that you don't have to pass by like you're not passing by the rack of
Yeah,
ski pants and coats, like clear that kind of stuff out. I mean, we always laugh, don't we, in this part of the world, that the person who does that first jinxes us, and then we have a snowstorm, right? Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
It's
Well,
like,
it's decision fatigue as well. Just as you talk about like clearing your cupboards with all the junky food, right? We don't want to have to sort through all the junk to find the nutritional stuff that has vibrational substance. So
yeah.
if we're having to move all of our winter jackets to get to the light,
Yeah.
cover that's
Yeah.
going to provide you comfort in that moment, right?
Yeah.
The level of energy invested in that is wasted. So taking a look at your space to make it as efficient as possible to deal with the seasonal changes is key, right?
So part of that could be like colors. like you've made me change before, you've made me change like throw pillows
Yeah.
or put away the really big heavy wool blankets that are tossed on my couch and change it for like a light season, more summery.
Yeah. I think that's less, they're all tied together. So if we're looking at clearing specifically, that moves more into the elemental realm. So seasonally in Feng Shui, like Ayurveda, we work on a cyclical cycle. So different elements support you at different times of the season. And and so that's where we look at like color, materials, shape, texture, all of those shifting as the seasons shift. What we want to do with clearing our space, with cleansing our space, is basically having a clean palette to then start bringing in elements that are supportive. But in order to do that, we have to sort of neutralize things first.
So we need to Marie Kondo things, like start binge watching Marie Kondo as we dump out every single pen in our house out of the pen drawers in all the different parts of our house or something.
You know what? Marie Kondo has a really good thing going, because I think that the practice around clearing your space is so supportive for activating our own inner knowing. So what Maria Kondo does is she speaks to sparking joy in looking at all of the things around us, to know that everything has a high vibrational charge to it.
Yeah.
And she does that in a very intentional way, like starting with your clothes. So if and what, you know, when she says like to take everything out and pile it, that's what that's doing, is activating sort of your like shock and awe, where you're like, you see the real reality, because our minds can say, we need this, because we are so programmed sometimes into the scarcity mode. But if we see this massive pile of clothes, then we can have some semblance of logical understanding. Okay, we don't need 300 pieces of clothing.
Yeah.
But by picking up every single one and sensing how your body reacts to it, is this like a nice yes, like a elevation, or is this a density? It's then retraining you and your intuition, your like, yeah, your inner knowing, to say, does this match my level where it's at right now? So in the winter, maybe something is going to match your frequency differently than in the summer. And then you get to sort of entrain yourself that way.
So if I'm just relating these two things again, sort of like the spring cleanse from the Ayurvedic and yoga perspective, that seems to be more around like diet and exercise and these sorts of things. And then you start to bring in the vibration, you start to bring in, it feels very practical, like what you're talking about. It feels like it's a very practical application. And yet, can you speak to sort of the mental, emotional benefits? Because I think I understand how the mental, emotional benefits happen when we eat differently. We have a better sense of well-being. So can you speak to that sense of change and well-being that happens when you spring clean your space?
I want to say mental, emotional, but I want to go esoteric too.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Well, the mental emotional is if we're looking at our space as a reflection of ourselves inside, right? Sometimes our space, like vice versa, our space doesn't reflect what's happening inside, or our insides don't reflect our space, but our space does reflect our inside. So if you came over to my house and I had my bathtub with all of these different potions and lotions and everything around, the overwhelm of do I want this one or this one or this one? You know what I mean? Is really reflective of maybe the overwhelm of choice or indecision in my life. And so that is just an indicator. It's just like a little cue to us to say, how is your space telling you what changes need to happen? So whether I, go through my inbox and clean it out or whatever, to do those measures, it's working with our outside state to support our inside. I don't know if I described that the way I intended to.
But there is something that happens. It's like the same, like there's something that lightens when we go through a cleansing process.
There's a clarity around it. That's why it's called clearing, right?
Okay.
And the esoteric bit of that is that if we're not using something, we're not energized with it, right? If something is sitting in the corner of our house and we haven't touched it, it's losing vitality, just like the rotting tomato in our fridge. Do we want to eat that? No, because it's not actually to the level that we want to feel. Same with the things in our space. So if we're not using it, it's just denser vitality. And that doesn't mean to say that we can, if we love it, we can't go and re-energize it. And that's what like dusting and vacuuming and animals, that's what animals do. We sometimes think about animals as, just another, well, no, we love our animals, but the idea that they come in and they bring mess with them. But what are they doing? They're energizing that lower level of our space that we don't usually like lay and roll around on the floor. So that is clearing. Like the animals are outside more in the summertime.
Yeah, like you're making me think right now, like I'm not really a big duster, but I will say that when I go sit down to kind of like open up a bookshelf or a drawer that I haven't looked at and I start sorting through things, like there's always stuff that I can throw away, repurpose, put back where it belongs, tidy, whatever it is. And there's always little treasures I find that I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. And so there's even an act of like energize, like putting your energy into things in that act of clearing and cleaning.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
like re-energizing lost loves, right? Or there's also a trick to that too. And somebody shared this with me recently, in that when we're a trick when we are clearing out our our Sally Ann box or whatever, not to pick it up again. So I've taken a look at this pencil. It's double-sided. I can do better. No, just joking. but I want to donate this. I put it in the box. I don't pick it up again, because every single time I pick it up, I re-energize it. And if I've done the Maria Kondo and I've seen, does this spark joy? No, it doesn't. Then let's let it be and trust that first reaction, right? Yeah. Another couple tricks with clearing clutter, because it's a really hard one, because we're taught to see ourselves in things, right? We are built to gather, and sort of our value and worth and status in life is around, sadly, what we own and what surrounds us. So if we're moving away, and we need to move away from this as we
collect too much.
As we collect too much, as we learn to love Mother Earth a little bit more, right? And yeah, move away from things. We need to find simple strategies to do that. So the Maria Kondo thing is purposeful, right? In recognizing energy, but then setting up, and I'm going to use like one of your strategies is that habit stacking. So when we're clearing, let's just take a look at our closets for one, right? We've taken out all of our clothes, we've piled them up, we've activated our yes and our no. We've touched them once, we've put the ones away and sent them away right away. And now how are we going to maintain that? One system that I found that works for me anyways is, first of all, finding the nicest hangers.
Mm.
Because it's almost like honoring the clothes that you love the most. And it's also letting me know that I have decided I need 50 hangers in my closet. Okay. My hangers are different than my husband's. Our hangers are different than our children's. So we know which hangers are ours. So if we have those 50 hangers full, when something comes in, something goes out. And that's sort of just an easy measure of, I feel pretty comfortable in a wardrobe of 50 pieces. Actually, it is not 50 pieces, but just so you know. but that idea that this is a comfortable place for me. Maybe next year it's going to come down to 40, who knows, but just knowing that we're not increasing, but rather decreasing, and then with every purchase, there's intention behind it. And then with the hangers themselves, how I help myself decide what comes and goes is when I put in September, when I put my clothes away, I face the hangers like the point facing outwards. Okay. So when I use that piece of clothing and rehang it, I hang it back up in the proper way. Should be proper. And then when we go to clear again, I can see which clothes I haven't used. So just trying like little tiny strategies around that for like the accountability of consumption, because it's a snowball, right? Like it's.
Yeah. I love that. Anything else you need to share? Because I got another question for you.
No, go please, because I can go on.
Okay, so the chi comes in the front of your house. It's like the air flowing in the front of your house, the same way we take things in and digestion. And then you want this flow. You want this flow of energy to go through your house. And you sort of alluded to the fact that every corner of your house is like a different acupressure point, and it represents something. So, like, how can you tell what needs your attention in terms of your house? Like, do you think you go to the place that has the most clutter and be like, this is what I know I have to tackle? Or is it like you go inside and go, where do I have to start? Or is it something where you actually need someone like you to help us go, ooh, now that I know what you're dealing with, like physically, health-wise, mentally, family, relationship-wise, and I see your house, I would like you to start here.
Good question. I think it could be answered any which way. So if you have something specific where something has come up in your life, whether it's a health issue or somebody in your family too, because different areas of our house is representative of different positions in the family, birth order and whatnot, we can go directly to that space, clear it out, and activate it with intention and esoteric. So it could be mundane or transcendental. But where I like to start in just kind of getting people used to this idea safely, because sometimes it feels a little bit out there though, is just looking at the specific areas for clutter, because that's very telling. That's not me coming in or you coming in and trying to navigate to a specific area. Right? Like if we're looking at acupuncture or massage, even somebody will say like, this hurts, let's work on the shoulder. And the massage therapist, if they're, doing any myofascia release, they're going to look way back here or a different area that's connected to that. So sometimes that's similar to the Feng Shui aspect. Is you can come in with the issue and then we can see where it starts or presents, or we can read the space as it is. So
if we don't have you coming in our homes, then it like just go to be like, oh, this is my room that needs attention. This is
like the densest area. Okay. And you can tell that even with clearing. So we haven't even talked about how to clear. Okay. But you can tell not just in the accumulation of things or spider webs, but you can tell when you're actually clearing your space. So whether you're doing it with sound or smudge, those are your allies that are going to give you a lot of information about where the energy changes. If you haven't done the work yourself with the Maria Kondo to feel it in your body. But most of us can, right? Most of us will go into that dense area in the basement. We want to leave. It's the room that you want to leave. You don't want to spend any time there.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the area that is the densest. But what's fascinating to me is, where is that area?
Yeah. Okay.
How does it relate to my life? And why am I neglecting it? It's like the deeper understanding of why we cleanse, right?
Yeah,
What do we want?
Yeah.
So actually, but if you were to start anywhere, we start with the mouth. What's coming in, right? Like if we're eating beautiful, fresh fruit and we have never brushed our teeth, right? If we're taking a deep breath and it's going nowhere because we're breathing just up in our top lungs, we're not sending that breath, that energy. You know what happens in yoga when you say like breathe into the bottoms of your feet.
Yeah.
So we want to focus on, if I was to start anywhere, it would be in the entranceway.
Yeah.
And it's just not from your doorstep, it's from beyond that. So we take a look at like walking up to your entrance. How easy is it to get there? You know, are you taking sort of this meandering path? Is it you're stepping over objects in the way? Like how easy is it for that energy to come in?
Well, it just reminds me right now of how we're all kind of eager to get out into the gardens, because like my front bed outside my front door is still a lot of dead plants. Like, and it just needs it. I'm kind of leaving it there because I like the whole I like the whole ladybug idea. But I still I think it was only a month ago that I took down my front door heavy Christmas winter display that was all dead. And yeah, like I needed to get rid of that deadness at the front door. It hasn't been replaced with anything because nothing will stay alive yet, but but that's like beginning to, and I think that's important. Yeah. That spring cleaning of that space as you lead up to your house.
Yeah. And we don't necessarily have to like too, from in Ayurveda, the transition points are the hardest.
Yeah.
Right. In transition is where people feel really unsettled. So what can you do to transition between the dead winter greens and the summer? I mean, there's some beautiful fake flowers out there, and maybe it's not color in flower form. Maybe it's just a wind chime or something that's going to bring the attention of others passing by. So think about the like really kitschy or lame, the those flying guys that they blow up outside of car dealerships to grab your attention.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. So not willing quite to put that on my front lawn, but I get
you're not willing to put that on your front lawn, but what can you do so that all those people walking past your house that are enjoying the spring, look, because they're bringing chi with their vitality to your front doorstep.
Wow, how cool.
You did that with a yellow door.
Yeah.
Like that was intentional.
Well, I mean, I guess it's no secret that you've helped us a lot with the renos that have happened in our house. So so many things we did so much more intentionally, given the questions you asked us about what we wanted. And then when we really sat down and talked about what we wanted, we created things differently.
Okay. Yeah.
I
did want to touch on, because I came into this thinking, like who, what, when, where, why, like what are we covering with clearing spaces? And we talked a lot about the Bagua and identifying different areas in your home, but the strategies around clearing clutter, that's the first and foremost. idea that the mouth of chi is where we start, so your front entrance, because once we can get energy into the space, everything else is going to go smoother, right? So clear your entranceway before you clear your closet, essentially, right?
Okay.
But then I want to talk a little bit about the how beyond clearing clutter. And that is what allies you use. So this is sort of like the good, the better, and then the best.
Okay.
So the better is identifying how you're going to clear the space. So a lot of people use smudge. And I mean, we can talk to a number of different people on what herbs and oils or those different like specifics on how to smudge. But I just want to talk about some sort of like not to do's.
Okay.
Because that is just as important as what to do, right? Or how to do it. With the idea of clearing space and using an ally, we want it's like not pooping. Okay, that was a like, but but if you're cleansing and you're not pooping, you're not getting rid of all of the stagnation and things that you don't want to use. So many people smudge and they don't open up a window.
Right. Okay.
Huge, right? Or they smudge and then they keep their cherished ash in the
Right.
bowl and put it back into the living room. So if we're thinking that this is helping us collect stagnant energy, we want to return it ash to ash, take it outside, dump it in, once it's extinguished, back into the garden. So
Okay.
if you're smudging, whether that's with sound, with burning sage or what have you, even clapping, you want to start at the mouth and work your way around, opening up every single window, every single cupboard, every single closet. Sometimes it takes two people, right? And what I typically do is I'll start in the outside of the house, setting the intention. So what are we, for one, clearing? What are we looking to dispel? Or what are we looking to bring in? So you can do it in two different parts, right? So if I like to use my bowl simply because the smudge is sometimes offensive to some people coming in and out. It smells like weed sometimes.
Yeah. It does.
Right. But the sound also is really affirming for me to understand if it has cleared, because the tone will change.
Wow.
So with the bowl, I'll stand outside the home, set the intention, and circle the outside of the door 3 times, because there's a lot of sacred ceremony with numbers and numerology and everything. So this is the number I use. And then working my way with the bowl and the sound, almost like scooping up energy. You're like
Right.
scooping it up into your bowl. And I run along the base, I run along little corners that feel dense. And if you run your hand through it, you can almost sense it feels like cobwebs. Like there's a little bit of a difference. Like there's a difference between the wall and then coming across the window. And maybe that's sort of something that you play with, right?
Gosh, you got to be sensitive to feel that.
You do and you don't, because you start somewhere and then you just don't question yourself.
Okay.
Right. And if you have a framework that I know that it's going to feel different from a glass pane to a solid wall, that's a yes. And then when you get into a corner and you're like, oh yeah, I can feel it here, that's another yes. It's that entrainment that we do with the clothing.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So running your way around in a clockwise into every room, working your way up, maybe going upstairs and then working your way all the way down and around and then out. And then expressing the gratitude and releasing the stagnation from the cleanse that you just did.
Gosh, I love it.
Does that make
It's
sense?
so, yeah, like it's so, it just plays in perfectly with the idea of cleansing our bodies. And it's intuitive. Like we feel a need for it in the spring. We feel a need for it in our bodies and in our spaces. So there's something already connected to this, I'm going to use the word longing, but it almost feels like a longing to throw open the windows and to have this clearing happen. So yeah, I just want to say thank you for giving us a little bit of guidance around it, because sometimes those intuitive feelings, we don't understand how practically playing out on them is important to reaffirm the building of that intuition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is playful, right? We don't have to be so serious with everything. Nobody's judging the crazy lady walking around with a bowl.
Well, I'm also thinking to myself right now, man, I've never been so jazzed to like clean my windows in the spring than I am right now after talking to Wendi.
And
Okay, so
all chores with intention have a different feel to them, don't they?
totally. Yeah.
So the
Totally.
windows are our eyes in Feng Shui. So if we're looking for clarity to see something differently, then we bring intention around clearing the windows and the mirrors in our space.
Oh, now I even want to do it more. Okay, so Wendi, we can find you at opendoordesign.ca, and all your services are listed there. I'm going to say I'm a big fan. I've been using Wendi's services now for about 3 years, and have felt nothing but lightness and clarity and expansion because of the work that you've done with us and our family. So anything else that you can add today?
I just think that there's so many gateways to getting true to ourselves, whether it's clearing our spaces or cleansing our bodies. There's such innate wisdom there, and it does require a little attention of identifying what we're after. So any gateway that works for a person is the best, but I would be happy to expand on Feng Shui, introducing Feng Shui to anybody, because it's my love language for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thanks for having this conversation with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.